Welcome back to the Bandwidth Tapes. I'm Brad Williams, and today I'm joined by drummer Kim Trammell. Kim is a deeply musical player whose groove, feel, and sound come from decades of listening, learning, and real-world experience. In this conversation, we talk about her classical percussion background, her years playing in Memphis, developing deep pocket feel, and what happens when music turns from joy into obligation. We also dive into self-care, sobriety, identity, and finding your way back to playing music because you love it. This is an honest and inspiring conversation about groove, presence, and staying human in a demanding musical life. Here's my conversation with Kim Trammell. Kim, welcome to the podcast. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Brad. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's such a pleasure to chat with you. One of the fun parts about doing this podcast is how I discover people that I reach out to and interview. And thanks to the algorithm of YouTube, I discovered you because of a video of you playing. I think you were doing like a Memphis drum shop video is where I saw you, and you were just grooving like nobody's business. And then you did this like inverted flam tap thing that you were playing on. And my son is also a drummer and percussionist, and I sent him that video, and I was like, listen to this. And we were just blown away.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I was honored to be on the Groovin' in Memphis podcast at the Memphis Drum Shop. They've been doing it for a number of years, so I was honored to be asked to be on it. So
yeah, it's really you sound so good. You're such a deep player. I just love the way you play, and just the sound that you get when you play. It's just really nice.
Well, thank you. I credit all the wonderful musicians I've been able to play with over the years to helping me develop my sound. So that's definitely a Memphis sound for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I'd love to find out, I guess about where it all started for you and what sparked the interest of music in general, and then how drums and percussion came into your life.
Well, I'll try not to be long-winded.
That's all right.
With my answer. When I was about 4 years old, I was in a babysitter's house, and they had a piano, and I walked right up to the piano. I'd never touched one before, and I started playing probably Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star or something like that. And then my parents thought, okay, here's something. And my parents were both musicians in college, in high school and college. They were band musicians. And so they already had a love of music. And so when I was 6, they enrolled me in the Suzuki piano school. And I clicked with that instantly because it's learning by ear. The Suzuki method is a lot of rote learning and imitating. And a year later, I started drum lessons. And that really fit my personality too, because I was a tomboy, and I was always riding dirt bikes or throwing the football, and I wasn't into playing with dolls or anything like that. So, and I was very, very hyper. So the drumming brought a whole new aspect of burning energy, and it kept my focus really well too, piano and drums. And so that was when I was 7. That was 1977. So that's when I took my first drum lesson, and it was all rudimental. It was on a Gladstone pad. I didn't own a drum, and it was a lot of rudiments, a whole lot of rudiments. And then fast forward, I got into school band in the 7th grade, and we had a great music program at my school. and went through high school and went to college at the University of Memphis, marched in the drum line. I got my degree in classical percussion.
Okay.
So I trained on timpani and marimba, and did a lot of orchestral study in college. So I never took drum set lessons ever.
Wow.
I just transferred everything that I'd learned in my studies to the kit.
Yeah.
And I didn't start really playing kit for real until I was about 20.
Really.
Yeah. So.
Well, I would deduce from, so I let me back up and say that I started out as a orchestral percussion as well, and eventually
Mhm,
became a drum set player and then became a bass player after that
mhm,
more than anything else. But, and I talk about this a lot on here, but I think playing timpani as a percussionist sets you up for success on all the percussion instruments and even drum set, because understanding tone and touch and
mhm,
how to strike the drum versus hitting the drum is so
mhm.
important. And I would imagine that once you moved over to drum set, that piece of it probably just felt quite comfortable.
It did. Now, when I was 20, though, every time I would hit 2 and 4, the tip of my stick would touch my back, because I was playing hard rock music. Um, but over time, um, I developed a more consistent musical touch on the kit. It
Mhm.
wasn't instant, but
Yeah,
I understood it,
right.
and um, but I loved playing timpani. I absolutely loved it, and I mean, I loved doing all the percussion instruments, but timpani was the most powerful one for me
I
in
was the
in that
same way.
setting.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
felt the same way. It was, yeah, and just being able to produce such a, I mean, it's like it, you're producing your sound, right?
Hmm.
Your tone has an identity to it, and it's so
Hmm.
nice to you. I mean, you can go back and listen to Saul Goodman or Cloyd Duff or any of these old timpanists, and you can know
Hmm.
that it's them by the way that they hit the drum. It's pretty amazing.
I was about to ask you what technique you used. I was taught the Fred Hinger technique.
Okay, uh,
Yeah.
so I was not taught Hinger. So I growing up in Atlanta, everybody played German setup, but I played American setup, but played
Hmm.
French grip. Funny enough, I've had quite a few people on here that were former students of Fred Hinger,
Wow.
and talked about so much of the way he taught tone production through
Hmm.
playing timpani. Yeah, it's pretty
You're
amazing.
pulling the sound out of the
Yeah.
drum, and then there's a wrist rotation in there
Hmm.
too, and it's actually beautiful to watch,
I agree.
but that was always, once it clicked, because that's not a natural kind of feel,
Right. That's right.
it's totally different than hitting a snare drum or anything like that. And I just enjoyed it. I don't know if I could do it well now. It's been 20 years since I've played
Yeah,
timpani, but
I'm the same way. I would love to. I would love to get behind the drums and feel that again, but I'm a little worried of how rusty that I am when I do it.
right, right, I understand.
Yeah. What when you were doing all that rudimental snare drum, when you were learning how to play, were you playing like Haskell Har, Gladstones?
Yes,
That you doing all that stuff?
Haskell Har. It was definitely Haskell Har, and then eventually Portraits in the Rhythm,
Hmm.
and
I love that book so much.
I do too.
Hmm. Yeah.
And all of our honor band auditions, even my college audition, I prepared a piece from that book. So
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing now. There's probably maybe more advanced music now, but
Yeah, my son wound up going to LSU and studied percussion, but he got accepted to North Texas and he was really thinking
mhm,
about going there. But it's, yeah, like De La Cluse. I mean, there's a lot of the
mhm.
stuff that we were playing probably back in the day that they're still. I mean, some of those books and I think some of those solos are just going to stand the test of time because
Sure, sure.
they're just still so good, you know.
I got accepted to North Texas and New England Conservatory of Music, and I stayed home and went to Memphis State because we had the one of the finest drum lines in the
Yeah.
country back then, and the
Yeah.
PASIC and all that.
Absolutely. Well, my son was I think he wanted to be in a smaller studio than
Hmm.
going to, because North Texas is amazing, but
Absolutely.
it's a huge program, right? And
Hmm.
he would have been in a very very small fish there, and he wanted some more one on one instruction.
Hmm.
And for him, with his personality, I think LSU fit. It was a good fit for
Hmm.
him. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So was your plan when you went to college to get an orchestra gig? Is that what you were thinking you were wanting to do?
Once I started playing kit, and that
Hmm.
was before I got out of college. Once I started playing drums, drum set in a band, then that shifted my focus because I did want to be an orchestral percussionist. That's what I
Hmm.
wanted to do. Um, or a pianist because I still played piano along through all of that. Um, but man, when I got in my first rock band, I said, this is it. This is
Yeah,
what I want to do. And and back then, this was 1989, 1990. Bands could still get record deals, and you could go out on the road and be on MTV and get all these big endorsements and all that kind of stuff. And there was a lot of uh, um, glamour, it seemed, and it's all an illusion now. With age, you realize all that's an illusion, but when you're young, you don't see that, and you wanted the glitz and the glamour, and you wanted to be in a famous band and all that, and so that's what I wanted to do, and that's then I did that for um, about 27 years.
yeah.
So yeah, until I grew up and realized, yeah, okay, you know.
I'm right there with you. I'm very happy to have a day job.
Hmm.
Um, I love music and I love playing it, but I also, some people can depend on that as their income and their well being and the whole deal. That's just didn't work for me. That's just not the life I wanted to live, and that's okay. You know.
Well, especially in terms of raising a family. So I never married or had children, so it was easier for me to do it longer, um, because I wasn't having to be responsible for tuition and
Yeah,
food and all that kind of stuff, and being a mother. But the inconsistency of the financial aspect of being a working musician didn't really bother me in my 20s, and in my 30s I started going, yeah, I don't I don't know about this. um, and then by the time I got into my late 30s, I had developed an interest in massage therapy because I started receiving it because my body was wrecked from all the years of drumming. I started receiving it and I thought, wow, this is profound. It had such an impact on me in a positive way. And I thought, well, I'm going to go to massage school. And so I went to massage school. I was still playing gigs. I went and trained and became a massage therapist. And I did that part time until I was about 43 years old. And then I got my first full time job as a massage therapist. And it changed the entire course of my life at that point. And I actually did quit playing music for a couple of years. Um, I just stood back, had to just back away from it.
yeah,
And because I playing for me, after decades of playing for money, it kind of dimmed that excitement and that fire that you had in your youth about playing, and it stripped it away for me. And that's a sad place to be because it should never, that kind of joy should never be extinguished for any reason.
I
And
I could literally say everything that you just said. You. That's exactly how I feel about every bit of it. what you just
Yeah.
said. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you
Yeah.
more.
And I found that when I started coming back to it, I started playing at church.
Hmm.
And I had taken 15 years off of playing at church too, and I came back to it, and I just felt so alive and fresh, and I was like, this is what it's all about. That joy I had as a young person, and that excitement. I couldn't wait to get to the gig. I'd polish my cymbals. I'd get there 2 hours early, because I couldn't wait to play. And then, eventually I got to where I was just bringing a hi-hat and a snare and a kick, and breaking it down before the last song even finished, because it was, and that's not what I wanted it to become.
Yeah, I always joke about that with my wife. I always say, you always know when you've become a professional musician when you start complaining about it all the time, and
Right,
and
right.
that's what I would do.
Exactly.
Like, oh, I got to get up and get ready to go play or go to work or whatever you want to call it.
Right,
Yeah, I felt the
right.
same way. Yeah,
Hmm.
when you started doing massage therapy, did you feel like you did it change the way that your posture, or were you thinking about that more when you started doing that, about how you approach the instrument?
Yes, absolutely. Because my posture had become uh, bad from leaning in, and because I like to lean in when I play,
Hmm.
and with my shoulders rolled forward, and then of course that causes neck strain and shoulder strain and all that over time. And when I was in school, I started learning about body mechanics. And because as a massage therapist, you have to have good body mechanics or you cannot have a long career. You'll get injured.
Yeah,
And I was taught, now my hand technique, I've never had trouble with my hands or wrists ever. It's just been in my neck and shoulders. And that's just from posture. It's not
hmm,
from the drumming itself, it was my hands. But so I got to be more mindful and more, I became more alive and aware inside of my own body from
yeah,
the massage therapy work, that then I started understanding how, poor posture can affect the musical energy that's flowing through you, and how it can close you off and all of that. And so I'm definitely more mindful about my body when I'm playing
yeah.
now than I ever was.
That's
So
great.
that's been a gift.
Yeah, and as I get older, the more I realize, like, the prep for it and then the recovery after it is like, I feel it in my back the next day. I'm like, oh man, I can tell I wore a guitar all night. It hurts,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. I played a gig. I do play in a cover band that plays like once a month, and it's only a 2.5 hour gig, but it's all really high energy rock music, and I feel it for about 3 days
Yeah.
afterwards, and I sit and think while I'm doing it. God, I can't believe I used to do this every night of the week, every night, you know,
Yes.
and but yeah, it's a very physically demanding career, and self care should be a top priority for every musician. And unfortunately, it's usually not.
Is usually the last thing that they think about. That's
Hmm.
I at least speaking for myself. Yeah, I agree.
Hmm.
Do you have clients who are musicians?
Um, Not too many. Um, I have worked on a couple of actually bass players that I know that had issues in their trapezius muscle,
Hmm.
from the weight of the guitar, and then of
Yeah.
course forearm, things
Yeah.
like that. And if I'm ever on a gig, a bass player or a guitar player will come up to me, "Hey Kim, can you work on my forearm real quick?" And of course I do it. Of course
Yeah.
I do that. And then I ask for a back rub in exchange. But
As you should. Yeah.
I should. Um, but no, not too many musicians. My client base is more of um, a more wealthy based group of people,
Hmm.
who I have managed to build over the last 10 years
Oh, it's
or so.
great.
And I go to their homes. And so um, that's my business. That's mainly what I do.
That's
So
fantastic. That
it's
is
awesome. I
amazing.
love
Yeah,
it.
that is
Love it.
amazing. Um, we were talking on here earlier before we started recording about you being from Memphis, and I'm curious what, I guess, first of all, what does that city in that area mean to you, and what do you think that geography is for you as a musician, your musical identity?
That's a very good question. Um, well, when I got out into the local scene, in my probably once I stopped playing in original rock bands, then I started freelancing and I started playing on Beale Street and interacting with all different types of musicians who I'd never been exposed to before, blues musicians and soul musicians and um, African American musicians, because
Hmm.
I grew up in a very protective upper middle class bubble
Hmm.
where I was not exposed to anything of the world that I went to a very upscale private school, and there wasn't any diversity in my upbringing at all.
Yeah.
Period. And when I got out and started seeing the world, it was just the most incredible experience for me. I was like, oh my gosh, this is incredible.
Yeah.
And meeting all these wonderful musicians and playing all this great music. And what I how I got lucky, I think, is because I was young and I was cute, and there weren't any really female drummers around. There still aren't around this area, not really, as far as I know. Um, and I've always been a good student because I always want to learn. I've never thought, well, I've got it all figured out. I don't need to know anything. And and I'm encountering these older musicians, and they see that I'm just a sponge.
Yeah.
And and they were all so generous and patient with me. Because I started playing with local artists that I had no business playing with, because I hadn't proven myself. I was young, and I didn't know how to play the blues. I didn't know how to do any of that. And I didn't grow up being sad and struggling. I didn't relate. I couldn't relate to that. Does that make
Yeah.
any sense? And I hope
Absolutely.
I hope nobody's taking this the wrong way. It because I'm trying to spin this as a wonderful thing,
Yeah.
that it just opened my mind, and it blew me away. All the experiences that I had just here locally,
Yeah.
and how I really got my music education after I left college.
Yeah.
And education also about people and about life and about how everybody doesn't come from the same place,
Hmm.
and people have struggles, and then you realize that they channel that through their instrument, and it was just wonderful. I was so blessed. I
Oh,
was
that's
so
amazing.
blessed, and a lot of the musicians that I worked with when I was younger, they've all passed away now.
Hmm.
Um, but they forever imprinted themselves on my soul, all of them.
I think that, speaking for myself, one of the greatest gifts I ever got was like you, getting to play with people that I looked up to that could have been territorial. They could have looked down their nose at this youngster and said, "What do what do you know?" And instead, they did exactly what they did for you, and they
Hmm.
embraced that, and they used it as a chance to pull you along, bring you along with them, and give you
Hmm.
an education in it. And I don't know if that generational thing happens as much now as it used to,
Yeah.
but I'm so thankful that it did. I'm so thankful
Hmm.
that we got uh, to experience that, because I the same thing happened for me, and I'm forever grateful for it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. I don't know what I was going to say. You can edit that out. I was going to say something and I forgot about it.
Yeah, totally good. It happens to it's going to happen to me probably 3 or 4
Oh,
times in the next 5 minutes.
I know what I was gonna say. One of the biggest things that when I was young and I started playing out, I mean, I had hands for days, you know, but I had no pocket whatsoever, none. And here I am playing with, people who were back in Ann Peebles and people who, all of these pocket players,
Yeah.
and they could have because I was very metronomic,
Mhm.
uh, you know, and played on top of the beat. And I worked with this keyboardist named Tony Black, and he was a like a gospel. He was like a Corey Henry type
Mhm.
guy, and he played key bass and he played keys. And somehow I was able to get a gig at a house gig at a casino in Tunica, Mississippi, at the Gold Strike Casino, and there was a house band situation. And I was 27 years old, and a bunch of drummers wanted that gig, but there was really only two main drummers at the gig, and every 8 hours the rhythm section would change. So I found myself in this situation with all these incredible players, and I was playing 8 hours a day,
Whoa.
7 days a week for 5 years. And I played with Tony Black most of those gigs. And when I first started playing there, he told me, he said, "You're not driving this bus right now. You need to follow me. You need to match me. You need to match where I'm placing all of my notes, because you're trying to run away with it, and I'm not going to let you do it." And he said, "You follow me until I tell you I'll follow you." And it took about 6 months of playing with him 8 hours a day. And every 4 hours, the singer would change. So the genre would change. So maybe noon to four, I'd be playing country. 4 to 8, I'd be playing Southern rock. The next day we'd start with a jazz trio. And then, so it was all of this, it was an incredible amount of music, and with different singers. And so at one point he looked at me and he was like, "You got it." So I had to pull everything back, my backbeat, everything. And that was the style. But see, now
Mhm.
everybody plays to the grid, and everybody plays with drum machines and all that kind of stuff. And I don't play like that. But that feel, if you look at my grid, like when I record, my snare drum is a 64th note behind the click every single time, just naturally. And it's from playing with him all
Yeah.
those years.
And it feels so
And
good, by the way.
well, thank you, thank you. And he's passed away. He passed away in 2011, younger than he should have. And but he is the one that helped me really sculpt my feel.
Oh, that's amazing.
And everybody who played with him was so blessed by him. Everybody. And he was just incredible. He was just genius, and he was loving and kind, and it was so helpful to me, especially when I first started playing with him.
Sure. What a crazy gig too, to just I mean, to get to play
Mhm.
for 8 hours a day. I mean, I cannot imagine
Yeah,
how you developed as a musician and as a player in the time that you did that gig.
rapidly,
Yeah.
rapidly. Yeah, I used to call it being baptized by fire.
Mhm. That's it.
And in one of the most toxic environments you could possibly work in casinos. And I saw things I'd never seen before,
Mhm.
and people's struggles and addictions, and it was eye opening.
Yeah.
It's a tough environment.
Yeah. Well, that leads me into something I was going to bring up, and I am. I think you and I are both on a similar journey with each other. I'm about 13 months sober now. Best 13 months of my life, no doubt. And I know that you're sober as well. And so
Mhm.
God bless you and
Yes.
cheers to you for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. You too, man. Congratulations. That's
Yeah.
wonderful.
What do you think that being a musician, I mean, the accessibility of it, do you think just the routine of it, the lifestyle of it, did that contribute to you?
Um, well, I started drinking when I was 17. I was a senior in high school. And and it quickly became something I enjoyed and it felt good.
Mhm.
And but at the time I didn't know that it was masking, anxiety, and it was a medicinal type thing. And I drank a lot from age 17 to 29, probably every night. Um, but honestly, when I started working at the casinos, that was a dangerous drive from Memphis to Tunica. And in the casinos, the alcohol was free. And that is really when I started looking around me and even some of the people I was working with. And I thought, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be like that, because I saw some of the people I worked with, uh, they were sober when they started working there, and they quickly became drunks again because of the alcohol was free flowing.
Yeah.
And it ignited something in me, um, that by the time I was 29, I quit. I just quit drinking, and I didn't have to go to rehab or anything like that. I'm not saying that if I would have continued to drink, that I wouldn't have needed that, but I just stopped. That was 26 years ago. And because it was making me, it made me feel bad. It was making me feel depression. It was making me overweight. It was making me feel much older than my years. And I also stopped going out and having drinks and getting in my car and driving.
Yeah.
I started becoming very aware of that. And because there's nothing okay about that. And once you become aware of something, you can't go back and unsee it inside of yourself. And I
Yeah.
thought, okay, well, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not, if I'm going to drink, then I'm going to make sure I'm at home, or I'm not driving anywhere. I'm not going to drink when I work. And so it just became a thing. And never have been tempted to bring it back into my life since. I can be around it now. I don't like being around drunk people. Um,
I'm with you.
but yeah, and there have been alcoholics in my family, not my parents, but some my grandparents and some other things, and that causes ancestral issues and of other types,
Mhm.
and it's just, there's nothing good about it. Um, I did smoke cigarettes for until I was 38, so that was the hard thing to give up. That was the hardest thing. Um, but I did that too. And but I do understand, everybody drinks for their own reasons, and some people can just stop, and some people have to spend the rest of their lives going to meetings and having support and stuff like that. So whatever it takes.
Yeah. I'm like
Yeah.
you, Kim. I just kind of, yeah, I didn't get a DUI. I didn't get
Mm-mm.
an ultimatum. I didn't get a threat of divorce it was just one of those things. I was getting healthier, and I thought, I think it's
Mm-hmm.
time I just put this down, and I haven't
Mm-hmm.
looked back from it.
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing that I still struggle with, because we moved. I grew up in outside of Atlanta and played many, many gigs there over the years, and then we moved to Louisiana, Lafayette, for a couple years, and we moved up here to St. Louis. And I feel like I wasted so many years, so many potential memories with my musician friends because I chose to get drunk instead of being fully present, and I have a
Mm-hmm.
lot of regrets for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm struggling now. I'm just kind of, and I don't want to. It's not. I don't want it to be a pity party, and I try not to be, but I just kind of beat myself up for it a little bit, you know?
Hmm. Hmm. Well, self-forgiveness is mandatory.
Yeah.
It's mandatory, and you're just part of your journey.
Yeah, it
You know,
is.
and being present is the greatest gift there is. That's why it's called a present.
Yeah, so that's exactly
You
right.
know,
That's exactly right.
and I mean, and since I quit drinking, I've lost everybody in my family. Everyone, they're all gone, and those were really big, huge, life changing things. And I never once thought, man, I'm just going to drink this away because it hurts too bad. Because the pain is a gift,
D
because it's just a measure of how much you loved the people, and to honor that pain and not try to make it go away. You
Yeah,
know.
and grieving, and that's healthy. It's good for us to be sad and to grieve those losses. I agree.
Yeah. And I'm going to quote one of my favorite authors. Her name is Caroline Myss, Myss, and I've followed her work and used her framework for my healing over the last 20 years. And she says, "Your biography becomes your biology."
Oh, man. Wow. Boy, that's it, right?
And we have the choice, we have the power to make choices that affect our story and our health.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
powerful. I
Yeah.
I'm gonna be using that a lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really it's a good reminder, right? That,
Hmm.
a challenge for ourselves to think that way. Yeah.
Hmm.
Did you when you stopped drinking, did you notice any difference in the way you played? Did you feel more? Obviously, you probably felt more present on the bandstand, but did you feel like you approached the instrument with maybe more inspiration than you had before?
I I don't remember. I remember being more focused on the fact that I was going to have to change all of my friends.
Hmm.
That's what I was more prominent to me then. It probably made me play better. I'm sure it did.
Yeah,
But I never got sloppy drunk on the bandstand either. I would wait until the night was over. Um, but it had to have had a positive effect on my playing.
yeah,
But I just don't recall being aware of that at the time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I and I know a lot of musicians that I would say that majority of the people I know that are sober are also musicians.
Right.
There's certainly a connection there,
Hmm.
and and I encourage anyone that listens to this that if you're thinking a little bit in your mind that maybe you need to change a direction in how you're handling your life, then you probably should. If you're thinking it,
That,
you should
yeah,
probably do it.
that's right. And it's scary.
It is scary.
Change is scary, and it takes a commitment, a daily commitment for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
To embrace that, and it's well worth it. It's hard work.
It is hard work and the greatest gift
Yeah.
I've ever I feel like I've ever received. So yeah.
Hmm.
Well,
And I'd like to add this another thing that, and you didn't ask me this, but this is something that I like to talk about a lot, is to not at a lot of musicians, and I put myself in this too, um w- tying your self-worth into the fact that you're a musician. Like, that is not your self-worth.
yeah.
That's just a part of you, what you can do and your gifts. And the I see a lot of I follow some of, there's so many wonderful drummers and musicians on Instagram. And I didn't get on Instagram until last year. So this is still all kind of new to me. But you can kind of sense that their self-esteem and their confidence and their everything, it hinges on likes and follows and views and things like that. And to me, it's if I was 25, it probably would be the same for me. And in some sense, I'm glad we didn't have all this back
Oh,
then.
I'm with you.
Um, but the pressure that it's putting on people, and they probably post a video and only get 100 views, and then they feel bad about themselves, and then they go, you know, have negative self-talk and maybe go drink or maybe go do whatever. And it's like I sense that there's a lot of that out there, and that's just not true, you know.
Yeah.
And when I started my Instagram channel last year, the only reason I did it was because I really had no video evidence that I ever played the drums like all of those years, because we didn't have camera phones and all that stuff. And I don't have any, I didn't document anything I did, and neither did you. We couldn't,
Right.
you know. And so I thought, while I can still kind of play, like I don't play at all like I used to play, but I was like, while I can still kind of play, I should probably just pop one or two videos. I'll figure out how to make a video. And I was very uncomfortable with it because I thought this seems so self-serving and arrogant, because we come from a different time. And then once I figured out, oh, okay, well, this is how everybody does it now. This is what everybody's doing. So, okay, I'll post a couple of videos, and I didn't even think anybody would watch them. I didn't even care really. I was like, okay, I've got that up there. So in 15 years, if somebody asks me, hey, I heard you used to play the drums, and I can say, yeah, well, I put some videos on that Instagram thing. And the next thing I know, like within 3 months, I've got like 30,000 followers, and then it kept growing and growing and growing. And I was like, well, this is kind of fun, you
Yeah.
know? So I would just make fun little videos, I mean, it's just fun. And I would like for it to bring joy to people more than I don't care about impressing anybody,
Yeah, I
you
feel
know.
like I do think that there's so much, and I applaud you for that, because and I'm sure that it does bring a lot of joy, inspiration, and just happiness to people that watch them. But I do agree with you that I think that there's so much of that slippery slope of players of, let me show you everything I can do in 60 seconds, and
Hmm.
then I'm going to hang my happiness on whether you react to it or not. And that is
Right.
dangerous, dangerous territory.
Very dangerous. Very
Yeah.
dangerous. And it makes me sad. It makes me feel sad because
Yeah.
you can tell the ones who are that way.
Yeah. And
And
so my day job is that I'm a tech director at a school, uh, working mostly with like kids right near middle school age, a little bit younger,
Mhm.
but spend a lot of time talking to them about, like, you're about to be exposed to social media, and if you're not already, and you're going to be doing this, and you have to understand that your self-worth has nothing to do with how someone reacts or doesn't react to anything you put on social
Mhm.
media. It has nothing to
Mhm.
do with it. And
Mhm.
I think that's, yeah, it's just a different time. I'm so thankful that for so many reasons, that I grew up when I did. Social media
Yeah.
maybe being the number one reason.
Yep. Same here. And there's no evidence of any of our
Whew.
tomfoolery.
Amen to that. I probably wouldn't be working at that school I was telling you about.
I get that. I get that. Um, yeah. So that's a word of encouragement to anybody that gets down on themselves about that. I mean, I have people come up and say things like, "Oh, you've got 115,000 followers," and I'm like, "But that's an illusion. It's an illusion. I'm grateful that people enjoy my channel and follow me. That's fine. But I don't spend my day thinking about it
Yeah.
and worrying about it and, uh, you know, whatever,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know,
that's it. It is not, you are not defined by any of that, and your
mm-mm,
self-worth
nothing to do with it.
has nothing to do with it.
No, not at all.
Well, I'm glad you are sharing your gifts though with everyone, and I'm glad that
Thanks.
you're continuing to play. It really was one of those things that I saw this video of you. I'm just, get to see all these different videos of drummers, and I saw it and I was like, "Oh my." And then watch the entire episode when you were talking about, and just being a pocket drummer, and I'm just like, "Man, oh man, to be a bass player standing next to that 2 and 4 would be a pretty fun night."
I've been blessed to play with some amazing bassists,
Yeah.
and that's yeah,
What do you
that's
want
the
from a
key.
bass? What what is your dream bass player? What do you look for in making that magic happen?
Yeah, I don't know if I can even put it into words. Um, the ones who stand out to me are they're listening to me and I'm listening to them.
Mhm.
There's a lot of intuitive energy that flows between us. And I love bass players who they're pocket players, but then just at the right time will add a inflection or a run that just fits perfectly into even something very simple. There's it's just spontaneous and beautiful. And but there's a cohesiveness that happens where we're one. We're not two separate players. We're one. And I get to experience that with most of the bass players that I've played with and still play with. And it's fun watching all the slapping and popping and hearing all that percussive stuff. That's great, but I don't want to play with that,
Yeah,
because what that does is it pulls me out of that, makes me feel like I need to be more rhythmic and busy, and there's a frenziness to that doesn't feel good to me.
I am 100% with you. It's one of I've never that's really just never appealed to me. I'm
Hmm.
sorry to my apologies to all the bass players that
Yeah.
listen to this, but it's just not. I am right there with you. I mean, it's
Hmm.
just, you know, I always tell like bass students, if you follow the kick drum and play the right notes, you'll probably work every day of your life if you want to.
Absolutely. That's it. That's it. That's absolutely it. And I mean, I appreciate and admire, you know, the musicianship of you know all different types of musicians. The ones that can play fast, and that's hard.
Yeah,
And I admire that. But when I sit down to play a song, I'm not playing a song. I don't approach. Um, I think I even said this on the drum shop episode that, like, if I like a song, what draws me to the song is really not at all what the drums are doing.
yeah,
It's the whole thing. Like, I'll give you an example. I think one of the most amazing songs is "I Go Crazy" by Paul Davis.
oh man,
It's one of the most beautiful songs. When that intro hits, it makes your stomach turn inside out.
yeah,
And the drums are doing barely nothing. But that song, I could play that song all day long on piano or even on drums,
yeah.
because it's the song.
It is,
It's
yeah,
not one aspect of it. And that's what moves me.
such a
So,
beautiful song, and yeah,
man,
it's like every part, every ingredient to that song is crucial, but
yes.
but they don't feel like it when you listen to it. Do you know what
Mm-mm,
I mean?
mm-mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What a great song. He was a great, beautiful songwriter.
My mom used to deliver his mail when I was a kid.
Are you in
And
Meridian,
well, and when
Mississippi?
he in the 80s, he moved to Roswell, Georgia, which is near
Oh,
where
okay.
where I lived, and
Okay.
my mom used to deliver his mail.
That's
And
so cool.
yeah, yeah. My
Wow.
daughter, I have a 14-year-old daughter, and we like to sing "Cool Night" with each other.
Yep. That's
It's
a good one too.
Boy, it's a good song.
Yeah.
There's just so many good songs out there, man. Um, what drummers do you enjoy watching online or listening to?
Well, currently, um, I love Teddy Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
I love him. He is just I just love him, and I just love how successful he's been and gets to play with all these different artists,
Yeah.
and I love Carlin McCuller. McCuller. I can't pronounce his last name. He's awesome. I think it's McCullough, Carlin McCullough. Keith Carlock, amazing.
Oh yeah.
Man, I got to meet him when he graduated high school. I saw him play in his parents' garage.
Really?
Yeah, right before he went to North Texas. He knew we knew some of the same people, and they were like, "Kim, you got to come down here and check this guy out." And I think I was 21, and I went down to Jackson or Clinton, Mississippi, and they took me over to his house. They're like, "You got to watch this guy play." And his parents had like soundproofed the garage, and he had this long mullet. He was so super cute. And he sat and played the entire, I think it was Master Plan,
Mm-hmm.
Dave Weckl.
Yeah.
He sat and played along to that, and he had these big monitors. And I've sat on the floor, like right in front of almost his hi-hat stand, and I was flabbergasted.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought, I'm watching a star, an absolute star. And not only is he a great kit player, but he's a great musician. You
Right.
know, he had to prepare, for North Texas like every other percussion student
Yeah.
does. And so I love him. Um who else do I follow that I really like?
While you're thinking, the thing I enjoy about the thing I love so much about Keith's playing is like, I just think like if I'm just looking through the Steely Dan lens for a minute, how he has managed to come and honor those songs the way he has, but still
Mhm.
put his fingerprint on them at the same
Mhm.
time. He's
Mhm.
yeah, that shows what kind of a musician he is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's special.
Yeah, he is.
He's a special one.
I just saw Nate Smith a couple months ago.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Nate Smith. Thank you for saying that.
He was just oh my, oh my. He's something
And of
else.
course, we've got here in Memphis, Christopher Bounds.
Yeah.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's one of the best drummers walking on the planet.
Yeah.
Charles Streeter. I don't know if you know who Charles Streeter is. He's another drummer from Memphis. He did some playing. He toured with Shaka Khan and I think J Lo. Super super talented. Terrence Clark, he's great.
Hmm.
He's touring with Brandy Carlisle right now. He's from Memphis. So Memphis is not lacking in wonderful, wonderful talent.
Yeah, just
Um,
grooving drummers like
I
yourself.
need to see more. I need to see more females. I need to see more women drumming.
I couldn't agree with you
And
more.
and with their clothes on,
And
because that's not the kind of attention that it takes away from skill set.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, so
yeah.
if I could preach to the girls, you know, keep some mystery about yourself.
Uh-huh. I'm excited that this Rush tour is going to hopefully inspire the next generation of female drummers.
It absolutely will. And it's huge.
It is
This is huge
huge.
first.
It
Yeah.
is it's like it is a watershed moment, I think, for in
Hmm.
music that she's going to be playing that tour.
Hmm.
It's a big thing, and I'm so
It's
so happy for her.
I am too. I mean, what a gig.
Yeah.
I and I have a feeling we'll start seeing more, young girls wanting to take drum lessons.
Hmm.
and
Yeah,
and that's good. We need that because
we
it's
do.
not drumming should not be for guys only, and I don't know who came up with that. You're using two pieces of wood to make noise, and I don't understand why anything has been attached, any kind of stigma has been attached to that. Now you do need to be aggressive, and that's not a real feminine quality.
Mhm.
It's not. You have to be aggressive when you play. I'm very aggressive when I play, not on my Instagram stuff, but when I play live. I mean, the sound guys are like, God, you are so loud. Like, can you pull it back? But you have to be aggressive. But like when I step away from a kid, that aspect disappears,
Yeah,
for me, Um, but yeah, she's going to be great. I wish her all the luck in the world,
yeah,
and that she doesn't read social media comments because some of them have already been just so horrible.
yeah. It's like
I
don't
don't
be that
understand
way.
that.
Yeah, she hasn't even played the freaking gig yet. Why are
No.
you're projecting your male insecurity on this amazing drummer, right? Don't do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's
So
unbelievable. Well, Kim, I could sit here and talk to you all day. That's just
I've enjoyed this
this is
very
this
much.
has been so much fun. You are just an inspiration and in so many ways, and I'm so glad we've had an opportunity to just hang out and talk for a while.
Well, thank you very much, and I appreciate you reaching out to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And just best of luck. Thanks for continuing to play
All
and
right.
sharing your gifts with the world.
I'll keep doing it, and best of luck to you.
Keep doing it. That was my conversation with drummer Kim Trammell. If you enjoyed this conversation, please follow or subscribe to the Bandwidth Tapes wherever you listen, and consider leaving a rating or a review. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.